Have you ever caught yourself secretly thinking that your prayers are a little more powerful, your worship a little more authentic, your spiritual insight a little deeper than those around you? This is one of the shocking warning signs of spiritual pride, a hidden sickness that seeps quietly into even the most sincere hearts, poisoning our walk with God almost undetected. Spiritual pride is a subtle thief. It takes your legitimate zeal, your genuine hunger for God, and twists it ever so slightly so that, before you realize it, your achievements become badges, your insight becomes ammunition, and your service quietly turns into self-exaltation. The first red flag is the secret urge to find fault in others under the disguise of spiritual concern. You'll notice a kind of inward satisfaction when others fall short. Maybe you mentally rank their coldness, their lack of prayer life, their ignorance of deep theological truths, convinced deep down that if everyone just had the faith, discipline, or revelation you have, the church would be healthier, the world holier. James warns that God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble, James 4:6. Yet spiritual pride tricks you into assuming that your discernment or gifting somehow exempts you from the need for the deepest humility. 4. Another secret indicator, an insatiable hunger for recognition or validation, camouflaged as holy ambition. You find yourself secretly disappointed when your sacrifices aren't praised, your ministry gifts aren't acknowledged, or your spiritual insight isn't openly admired, even though on the outside you might protest that you serve selflessly. You might even subtly angle for roles that seem more spiritual, desperate for some public evidence that you are chosen or anointed, all while convincing yourself that it's all for God's glory. This is what Jesus condemned in the Pharisees, the tendency to perform acts of righteousness to be seen by others, Matthew 6:1, and to look down on others as unrighteous, Luke 18:11-14. Then there's the toxic habit of boasting or subtly inserting your spiritual accomplishments into conversations, seasoned with humility but driven by a craving for admiration. You might overemphasize what you gave up for God, how many hours you fasted or prayed, how thoroughly you discern heresy in others. Real humility, as modeled by Christ himself, Philippians 2:5-8, resists every form of self-congratulation, but spiritual pride secretly relishes the sound of your own virtue. Another hidden sign, being unteachable, a resistance to correction, a knee-jerk defensiveness when challenged, especially by those you regard as less mature or less spiritual. Proverbs 12:15 declares, "The way of fools seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice." Yet spiritual pride whispers that you are beyond needing instruction, that your insights are enough. You'll recognize this when you secretly bristle at sermons that aren't deep enough for you, or you quietly dismiss the encouragement or warnings of others as irrelevant. Perhaps most shocking is spiritual pride's counterfeit humility, a tendency to exaggerate your unworthiness before God so much that it becomes another form of self-obsession, minimizing the sufficiency of Christ's sacrifice and subtly making yourself the focus of your story, not the Redeemer. Romans 8:1, Psalm 138:6. The danger is real and it is deadly. Everyone who is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Assuredly, he will not be unpunished. Proverbs 16:5. And pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18-6. The hidden truth is this: spiritual pride is not just a flaw, but the devil's favorite foothold, the original sin that made Lucifer fall, the most subtle form of idolatry where you secretly worship your own spirituality instead of the God who gave it to you for. If you feel a painful conviction right now, it's a mercy from God, because the humble receive grace, while the proud face his resistance. Let the Holy Spirit search you. Do you secretly crave spiritual applause? Do you secretly measure your worth by others' shortcomings or your spiritual resume? Will you dare to lay every crown, every insight, every hidden urge for validation at the feet of Christ? The only remedy is ruthless self-examination and a radical surrender to the humility of Jesus. God's call is urgent and uncompromising. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. James 4:10. If you sense these warning signs stirring within, don't settle for secret pride. Ask God for shocking humility. the kind that grieves over your sin more than the sins of others, and lives only for the unseen applause of heaven.